These questions, we're always talking about the denominator. If the denominator cancels, we have a whole. If it doesn't cancel, if it's left over, we have a vertical asymptote. So I want to look at 258 and 259 and kind of compare those two together. So when we see the vertical asymptote instruction, we know it is about the denominator. And specifically, it is about what is left over in the denominator. We want to set that equal to 0. Now, when you look at 258, you have this 3/2 power, and that 3/2 power, of course, could be rewritten as x plus 2 to the third, and then taking the square root of that. But even if you rewrite the 3/2 power, you don't have a denominator. So because there is no denominator here, there's nothing left over in the denominator, there's nothing set equal to 0, so because there's quote-unquote no denominator, that would indicate to us that there are no vertical asymptotes. So for 258, we would have to say because there isn't a denominator, there's nothing left over in the denominator to set equal to 0, that there are no vertical asymptotes. Now, if you compare that to 259, where they have f of x is equal to x minus 1 to the negative 1/3 power. This is one of the most important lessons to remember. Whenever you have a negative exponent, we really don't know how to deal with that except for making it positive. And so you always want to remove your negative exponents, and the way we do that is by moving them across the division line. And the reason why we want to always do this, and this is going to be true throughout the entire class, removing these negative exponents, moving them across the division line, is because once they become positive exponents, then we might have some more clarity as what we are actually dealing with. So anytime you see a negative exponent, remove it by moving it across the division line, in which case it will become positive. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this whole negative exponent situation, move it down into the denominator, and then it will become a positive 1/3. And then, of course, 1 is going to be a placeholder left over because now we have everything in the denominator. So this is really the function that we are working with. Now, we go back to our idea that with vertical asymptotes, we are interested in what is the leftover part in the denominator. So we look at the leftovers in the denominator and set those equal to 0. Now, before we do anything, we have to see if anything can factor and cancel. When you look at this, there's nothing to factor for 1, nothing to factor for the x minus 1 to the 1/3. So that means that x minus 1 to the 1/3 is going to be our leftover denominator. Now, do not be intimidated by this. You can get rid of the 1/3 power by raising both sides to the third. Then the 3 in the numerator, 3 in the denominator cancel, and that gives us x minus 1 is equal to 0. And then adding 1 to both sides, we get x is equal to 1. So our conclusion for 259 would be that there is a vertical asymptote, an infinite discontinuity, and that occurs at x is equal to 1.